You are about to hear the unbelievable story of a human child who grew up believing she was a dog and that dogs are her real family. How exactly did this happen? Has she developed rabies, the ability to bark, and eating scraps on the ground? And most importantly, does she still remember that she's human? The answers might shock you in this chilling video. Night fam, this is the true story of Oksana Malaya, the girl raised by dogs. And this very curious case was discovered one cold day in a small farm in Ukraine, when a neighbor sees a pack of dogs and sensed something strange. One of them was running around on all fours, barking and breathing with tongue out, but it's not a dog. Goodness, is that a little girl? The 9-year-old girl was acting exactly like a dog because she thought she was one. What happened to her that she couldn't move or speak like a normal child? Why do doctors believe she was too damaged? Well, see, Oksana lived in a tiny house inside a tiny farm with a lot of siblings and problematic parents. At first, they tried to be good parents. Papa, play. Okay. But sadly, their difficult life made an alcoholic out of her mother and father. They became too drunk to take care of them, let alone send them to school. They became neglectful, especially to Oksana. They didn't even notice that one night they left a then 3-year-old Oksana outside in the cold. And they were too drunk to care that she was missing. And so, by instinct, Oksana crawled into the kennel of the farm dogs. She slept inside and stayed there with them. And that was how Oksana survived the cold. She tried talking to the dogs. Doggy? And they, unlike her parents, talked to her back. They let her live inside their kennel for a few days until the dogs started to treat her like one of them. Because she became used to living with dogs, she started acting like them. She learned to talk how they talked, and she learned to move how they moved. The dogs fed Oksana the same scraps they ate. They let her drink from their bowls. They let her lie next to them and even cuddled with her to keep her warm. The dogs took care of Oksana the way her parents wouldn't. Nobody from her family searched for her as if she didn't exist at all. And so, just like how the dogs shed their fur, Oksana shed her human self. Because no one was looking for her, she stayed with the dogs longer and longer, until 6 years later, the neighbor found her in the farm playing with the dogs and called the authorities. The kid is not pretending to be a dog. She actually thinks she's a dog. She needs help. And so Oksana was finally rescued. The doctors were shocked to see her like that. She became feral because of neglect. Poor child. How cruel of her parents to let her become this way. Her mind was so stunted that she never learned how to speak like a human. She lacked many basic skills that a 9-year-old should already know. She didn't even have proper hygiene because she cleaned herself like a dog. Later on, Oksana was transferred to a foster home for mentally disabled children. She underwent years of specialized therapy and education to hopefully bring her back to normalcy. But those 6 years of living like a dog damaged her. Because even though she finally learned to speak fluently and intelligently, she is still intellectually impaired. Although, see, Nightfam, despite the fact that it did such a big damage to her, I honestly think that she was lucky to be with the dogs. Because aside from being saved from dying in the cold, she developed in herself the best thing about dogs: being very forgiving. Because even after all that neglect and cruelty she suffered from her family, she never learned to be angry and hateful towards them. She still wanted to meet them. Hello? Hello! Do you remember me? When I was a little girl, I liked to play with you and be with them. Just like a dog who would still kiss its human lovingly after she is left alone. Ladies and gentlemen, it's truly unfortunate what happened to Oksana. But if there's anything that you can take away from this unusual case, it is that love can be found even in the most unexpected places. And heck, if a pack of dogs have been more human to Oksana, treating her with more care than her own human parents, then surely we can do so much better as people to our own kind.